Good evening. Welcome to Tea Talk. I'm your host, Supriya, and today we are diving into the world of business transformation and leadership with a powerhouse in the field. Joining us today is Philipa O.W. Biritwum, the dynamic founder and CEO of AMACON Leads. With her over 2 decades of experience shaking up industries from automotive to energy to mining, Philippa always brings a fresh perspective to the table. Welcome to the show, Philippa.
Thank you very much, Supriya, for inviting me, and thank you for allowing me to, talk a bit about myself. I'm excited.
Thank you for joining us and taking the time out. I know you're busy with a couple of things going around the corner, and we are going to talk about it more in detail. But Philippa, I'm always intrigued. Like whenever I see any of your posts on the LinkedIn or whenever I meet you at the events, that after spending 20 years in the corporate world and then becoming an entrepreneur and moving towards or transitioning towards the entrepreneurship, what is the inspiration behind that?
Well, first of all, let me say it was a big step for me. I was in this bubble of the corporate world where, to be honest, LinkedIn didn't even exist for me. And my motivation to become an entrepreneur actually is deep-rooted. When I was young, I already started selling things. Usually you see those small girls or boys selling flea market things at the flea market. I was one of those kids. So I think it's the entrepreneurship gene was already early inside me. And at a certain point after, working in 3 industries and working for big companies, I had the feeling that something is missing. I thought, what is it that you want to do next? So it was honestly a try and error approach. I thought, let me try it. And if I don't try, I will never know if I could have ever managed that venture of entrepreneurship. So my motivation was to basically I would say fulfill my inner wish as a child, but also wanting to know, can I make it?
So was there a specific moment or experience or something just happened that, you thought of going for the switch that solidified that decision in your mind that you would like to start you something of your own?
Yes, actually, yes. In 2022, so I moved to the Netherlands a couple of years ago. In 2022, I had just worked for my new corporate company. I had a huge responsibility of around 100 employee pool, 6 departments. Actually, I was handling, I would say, I had a huge responsibility. And then I embarked on the Way of St. James. It's known as a religious pilgrimage walk. And I walked nearly 1,000 kilometers, and it comes with all the pain, the physical pain, the mental pain that you go through. You go through your life experiences, but to be honest, you also enjoy a lot because you meet new people. They give you a lot of new perspective. You meet, I don't know, there are so
1,000
many
kilometers?
different, and
Sorry to interrupt.
nearly thousand, believe me.
Wow.
The blisters couldn't be counted anymore. So it sounds more fun than actually I could count my blisters. So, but it was good. I met so many different people with backgrounds, with experiences, with life visions, and it made me think about myself. What is it that I always wanted to try out once in my life? And this is when I started to think back to my childhood in Ghana, where I was always, pursuing being self-employed, independent. Independence is a very, very important topic for me. So after this pilgrimage, with all the experiences in my backpack, and actually I had to throw my hiking shoes away because there was a huge hole in one of them, I came back. And then I did something very unusual because usually you come back from those pilgrimage and you are full of inner spiritual thoughts. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to New York and to Hawaii. So I took off to New York to Hawaii to make sure that I am not going to start something based on only spiritual experience. So I went on a short round trip US, including, of course, the island Hawaii. And then when I came back, I was sure this wasn't only a spiritual experience, it was really something I want to try out. And then right afterwards, so around November, I started to explore what is possible in the Netherlands, especially for an expat, for an international. So I did my homework and I found some very helpful people around the whole gemeente Eindhoven. And yeah, I then decided to register the business in January. It took a couple of days longer. As of 1st of February, AMACON lead was born. And you know what? It was a great step. I do not regret it until today.
That's such a fascinating journey you had quite there. I think for a professional and personal growth, it's very, very important to embrace new challenges and to take, calculated risk in life. Growth is everything, and that's how you evolve in life. Yes.
I agree
So
with
I'm
you.
glad. Can you just tell us something more about AMACON Lead? Like, what are the services? Are there some programs specifically, to some specific audience, or what is it about?
Yeah, so AMACON Lead is of course a business that I founded, but it's a hard project. So basically, maybe let me explain a bit the name AMACON Lead. So AMA actually is my name. So when you are born in Ghana, you get a dedicated name of the day you were born. So I was born on a Saturday, and there were thousands of Amas in Ghana, believe me. But it's a name that is being used by my grandma, by my mother. You know, whenever I do something wrong, they're like, Ama, come here. And then I know, oh, okay. They are not calling me Philippa by my English name. It's now time to behave. And it's a name that has been always hidden ever since I lived in Europe, or actually around the continent. So it is AMA and then CON, of course, for consultancy, and LEAD for leadership, because leadership has been always a key topic around my life in the corporate world. I was in the beginning of my career, mostly the only female Black in my team. For some time, even in the entire organization of the location I was working at. So leadership has been always a topic about am I being led, but also how was I leading when I became a leader. Oh, this is how now people will know I'm very old. Back in 2003, my first leadership role. And so AMACON Lead, to come back, offers services around leadership. Now, I have the goal to not set up a leadership program and training services and leave it as a frozen program. So what we do, and I think this is a USP when it comes to, at least from my analysis, that we offer interim leadership. So the idea is that me and every single team member of ours that is a facilitator works as a consultant leader for an organization. It doesn't matter which sector of the business. And this allows us, with our various programs we have, to stay in the loop of what is happening today. It is not a frozen program that we have developed. Of course, we have clear developed program with theory and psychological background. By the way, one of my studies was psychology. So it is very, very also psychology based, but very practical. And this is what is possible when you remain somehow in the business, and especially as a consultant leader and not as a hired employee. Because we want to make sure we don't fall in love with the company we work at too much, that we become part of the asset. You know, as an employee, you know how people sometimes start a new role and then they have all these fresh ideas and they want to, change things. And then after a year, they become part of the asset. After a year, they lose this freshness. So if we remain somehow, we are part of the team, but we don't become part of the asset, we still are able to bring in the fresh idea, and we're able to also extract what we learned there and include it in our leadership programs. So we offer leadership training and services for startups, scale-ups, SMEs. We are still trying to enter the corporate world, but I guess that's going to take a while. And we do also offer mentoring and coaching, because we believe it's all combined. Also, we offer strategic guidance, because I believe, first of all, from my experience in the corporate world of being in charge sometimes of billions in revenue, but that strategy needs to include leadership. So this is what we offer. So everything around leadership.
Wonderful. So I'm intrigued now. I want to know, like, behind the scenes, what is, as a founder and CEO of AMACON Leads, how does your day go by? So what do you do in the whole day?
Yeah, you know, I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was imagining this entrepreneurship. You know how sometimes you watch reality shows or you watch TV, and an entrepreneur wakes up late in the morning, do a few emails in bed on the phone, and then kicks off the team. And then somehow they start drinking coffee, reading more emails, joining meetings outside in a nice restaurant, in a cafe, you know, and then the day finishes, of course, with a great dinner with a client. No, unfortunately not.
No. I wish, yeah, exactly.
You know that what it is, right, Supriya? But it's just
24 into
entrepreneurship
7.
that you have, huh?
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
24 into 7, the mind doesn't stop, and then you're always working towards something. Yeah. But I would really, I'm fascinated, like, what is your day like?
Actually, you know, I work actually a bit more than I used to do in the corporate world. And I was already working a lot in the corporate world, owing to my responsibility. But, you know, it's different. You work for yourself. So my day does indeed sometimes start in bed with emails, but it also has to do with a lot of patience, a lot of endurance, and actually long hours. So
Yeah.
I work through the day, but there are also good sides about it. As much as I work through the day, and sometimes it seems like 24/7, I can also decide, hey, I need a break now. If there is not an important meeting with a dedicated responsibility, I can say, you know what, I'm going to go for a walk now. I need to fresh my brain. I need to get new ideas, and I do that. In the
Mhm.
office, usually it's nearly impossible. And I think this is something that we need to also sometimes not forget as entrepreneurs, that we do have the choice to say, hey, stop. Now I need a timeout. And so my day is packed, my day is full. Either I am working on an AMACON project, or I'm with a team, or I'm actually at a client working as an interim team member. So it is a very, very packed days, but you know, I still love it. Really love it.
And
It's not 9 to 5 job.
but isn't it beautiful? I mean, how many people do you know who can do what they love in their life? You know, that's their profession. For example, even if I get up in the morning, I always look forward to that, okay, this is my day and this is what I have to do. Although sometimes it is not as structured, because yes, you have to come up with something and the ideas as you were mentioning. But I've known so many people who really, you know, are not looking forward to the day because, oh, I have to go to work. And I feel like I'm really especially blessed. And I think it's the same with you, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. I agree. It is not always structured. That's the beauty of it, right?
I would like to know, like, what is your leadership philosophy? Because you have talked about, like, you were talking about that you have so many programs, you're into mentoring, you're into strategic things and all. But what is your personal leadership philosophy?
I really believe in empowerment. And it is,
And
you know, empowerment. And, you know,
okay.
empowerment actually sounds nicer than sometimes it is. Empowerment is so important because it comes with responsibility and
Mhm.
independence in working. When I was a leader, I learned actually very early that not every single employee wants empowerment, actually. Why? Because to be empowered, you also have to take responsibility and commitment. So for many, just give me 1 second. I have a small issue here. I'm very sorry.
No problem. Yeah.
So for many people, empowerment means, oh, you know, I get the freedom to do and act as I want. You do. 100%. You do have the freedom to act as you want. But I think when more leaders would empower their team members, they will get fresh ideas, innovative ideas, because you hired a person with a specific expertise and background. If you give them empowerment, you get actually what you wanted, that expertise and background, but also a skill that you might not have known right from the beginning. Some people are better in organizing, others are better in visionary thinking, even though they are not hired as a visionary in their role.
Mhm.
Others are more strategic, but there are also people that prefer the micromanagement way of working. You need all that kind of different leaders or
Yeah.
employees in your pool. So for me, empowerment is so important. But again, not everyone wants empowerment, because for some people, they want to be able to say, no, you told me to do this and I did it that way. And then there are others that say, actually, you know what, just tell me where to go and just tell me where and when I should be there, and I go my way. So this is why for me, empowerment is so, so important. Again, it has downsides and upsides, right?
I think, yeah, but in entrepreneurship, I think empowerment is everything. I cannot think of, yeah, see, I started as an entrepreneur, yes. I was also in the corporate world before, but then I started with the radio. It was a new thing. And then you start doing with the How Do magazine or any of the events. And the latest thing is what we are doing is right now is organizing fashion shows as well.
Oh my
So
gosh, now you are talking about something. I love,
right.
fashion.
Right. And so we don't also know that, okay, we have these kind of things in ourselves, these qualities, or you can say that you can organize something at that level. But I think only if we'll give ourselves chances and be open about it, and then okay, you can discover so much about yourself as well.
And I fully agree with you, right? And to be honest, now today it's about tea talk with Philippa, but to be honest, I am enjoying talking to you because I already mentioned when I first time I met you that first of all, you're a super beautiful woman. That's anyways, no doubt. But I also am, I really admire your energy and your ambition that you have around you. So yeah, I'm much enjoying talking to you today, actually, than I think you are as well. So yeah, very, very
The feeling is
interesting project.
absolutely mutual, Philippa. Thank you, but the feeling is absolutely mutual here. See, looking ahead, like how do you envision the future of leadership development evolving? You think because see, we have remote working now, we have virtual. I mean, there's so many other things which are happening. So you think it's going to disrupt the model or the traditional leadership development programs?
Yes, definitely. I think that when COVID hit, many of the leaders that were co-workers of mine or that I knew from in private life were struggling with the remote leading. It's a new leadership style where control, if you are a leader that likes to know what's happening, so control is a topic for you, it is very, very difficult to deal with. Remote, and there are sometimes leaders that believe, okay, if as long as I don't see the team member, who knows what they're doing? And then there are leaders that were totally welcome this new way of leading. So I think the leadership style was changed by COVID, but then it's again changing because now COVID is over. Many companies, especially the corporate, are calling employees to come back to the offices. Then those employees have gotten used to this remote working. So I think we are heading towards more hybrid working, not hybrid as 2 days at home and 3 days at at work, but more hybrid of maybe once a month I go and to the company, or once a week I am working abroad and I just work 1 week from the office. So it is definitely a complete new world for many, many leaders. Also, you have this generation clash of the Gen Z, who are more like, they sometimes appear to us that they're easygoing, they just want to enjoy life. But it's not the case. They see the world differently. They don't want to be like the baby boomers that worked like dedication to the company. I do everything for my company because then I have society respect. So there are, first of all, generation clashes. There is the whole environment of post-COVID towards remote, hybrid, on-site. And I think it is really evolving. So for me, it was one of the inspirations to say, we at AMACON, AMACON Lead, we are starting our leadership program as a presence event. Because of course, we will also look into online leadership programs, etc. But I wanted to have this feeling of back to the roots of experiencing how people react when they have to basically come back to a program where they experience and hear what others have to do and have to say. My experience sometimes, and this is also a very important topic, I think, in future, is that there is this new, I would say, notion of multitasking. You know how we used to say women are multitask, men are not. But now everyone seems to believe they are multitasking. I doubt it. Because even I say I'm multitasking, I can tell you, usually I get not even half of the other things I'm doing when I'm doing, something else. So this whole multitasking of we are working remote online, and actually I'm able to manage more because actually I can, be in a meeting, read emails at the same time, talking to family, whatever. It is a very, very important topic also when it comes to leadership in future. So To your question, I think leadership styles are evolving. There might be some old traditional leadership styles like transformational leadership that might be a topic again, but also because transformation means going with the flow, right? And adapting to what is changing. But there might be also a bit of a setback into, no, actually, you know what? We want to lead our people, right? So they all have to come back to the office.
Yeah, but that's a visual thinking that everybody, I mean, I also personally enjoy that we are in a workplace, that special, that coffee moment, and when you click some ideas and you're networking. But I think the rise of remote working and virtual collaboration would likely reshape the traditional leadership models. I think requiring leaders to cultivate strong communication skills and foster a sense of connection and belonging within a team. But I think there is also a growing focus on ethical leadership and sustainable business practices as leaders recognize the importance of, I can say, the purpose-driven leadership in creating the long-term value, right?
I fully agree with you, right? So I always, this ethical and sustainable leadership, I always say it's impactful leadership.
Yeah.
So I guess we mean the same thing because, you know, in the end, it's important that we lead people.
Yeah.
We lead people. Sometimes, you know, how you meet someone at the airport or outside the world, and you have no clue what the status, the position of that person is. You just see the human being. And this is
Right.
something you have to always remember as leaders, that actually we are leading people, and people are the ones that are bringing the results that we need to have as a company or organization. So ethical leadership, sustainable leadership, impactful leadership is seriously important, like you say.
And I think in this same line, I heard that you're also organizing, or AMACON Lead is organizing a beautiful event called Leadership 2024. Can you please tell us more about that? I'm really intrigued.
Yeah, we are daring. I mentioned earlier that I moved to Eindhoven only a couple of years ago. I am not known really in the entrepreneurship world, but leadership, so female leadership, female experiences, is so important. Remember, I mentioned in the beginning that me as a leader in the tech world, in the beginning with my background, ethnic background, etc., was sometimes a challenge. And I do believe that even though today we say women empowerment and there is no, you know, gender gap is still a topic, but, you know, we are well situated into the society, it's all true, right? It is all true. And especially something that I experienced in the Netherlands is that we say, yeah, we might be sometimes minorities as females in certain positions, but I never felt any suppression. I never felt any this. And then you will talk to, you know, an international person, they say, well, I really see this glass ceiling over me. It's all there. I actually can't grow. So I wouldn't say one is right or wrong, but what I can say is that female leadership is still a topic, as much as ethnical leadership is a topic. And as long as it's a topic, I have always believed in the creating awareness. My goal is not to be Wonder Woman and to change the world, but my goal is to say, hey, there is a topic to talk about. Who else can relate? Raise your hands. Let's meet. Let's talk. This is what this event is about, inspiring each other, talking about inclusion, talking about female empowerment, and just sometimes, you know, sharing the bad day experience we had, you know, just letting it out. It helps. So it is in Eindhoven on the 21st of March, and I would love really to meet, you know, lots of women in Eindhoven and of course in the surrounding. We have 10 speakers. I will be also part of it. And I'm so happy because it's so diverse. It starts with taboo topics, right? So female working environment. We all know that we female have owing to our hormones some, you know, things in life that are sometimes triggering us, right? And then it's also about gap barriers, gender gap. But also we talk about the experience of leading in the global world. And we also talk about leading as a female founder, a female entrepreneur, a female startup co-founder. But nevertheless, you can hear I am also a person that loves to enjoy life. We have a self-care part where we talk about color and image consultancy, resilience. And I'm so happy. One of my very, very long-term friends, she's a musician. She was popular in Germany some years ago, and she's coming in to perform live. So it's going to be, I think, a very joyful evening, 21st of March, Eindhoven City Center, straight away. And yeah, I hope people will register. I hope people will join us. That's all I can say.
That sounds really, really exciting. I'm really looking forward to attending the event. And I agree with what you said. That's very powerful that, if we start contributing in our own small way, this is your contribution to by going ahead with the event and organizing it. Of course, it requires a lot of effort. But I think if we start contributing even in a small way, the ripple effects, and that's what we are looking for.
Exactly.
Really, really excited. And yes, many of my friends are also joining. But when we were talking about this, you just shared something that a few women said that we haven't faced any discrimination. But I also know a few people, a few friends or in my network that they've told me that they were rejected for a job because they were told that they are too ambitious.
Oh, wow.
Some of them were told that they are too assertive or too probably too excited about the jobs, and I don't think so. I mean, that's my personal opinion that should ever be the reason for getting a rejection letter from any company, and especially in the Netherlands job.
Yeah,
It,
it is sad what you're saying,
it's
right?
sad. Yeah, exactly.
It is really sad. And,
Make
this is one of the reasons that I say we might say gender gaps and ethnical background are not an issue anymore, but they are. I
yeah.
experienced what you're saying. I remember when I first started my career in Germany. I grew up in Germany, and I wrote 60 applications for a job, to find a job. And the majority of them declined me. The only person that took me was back in the 90s. They said they need someone who speaks English. And even them, they told me, but make sure you don't go overboard. So this sounds to me like similar what you're saying. I think
Yeah.
what sometimes we forget is that it's a cultural topic. It's a cultural thing. When you grow up in certain countries and areas of this world, you are brought up to be ambitious. You are brought up also, it's a matter of not only surviving, but to have a goal to work towards. And sometimes there are so many of you that you need to stand out to reach the goal you want to, or to get to where you want to be in society, or maybe sometimes just to say for yourself, I am satisfied because I have achieved my goals. And then in the European countries, often this competitiveness is not really part of the culture as deep as it is in some of the southern countries. So I find it sad that it is not being seen that in today's world of internationalization, it is important to understand that this ambition that they see is not a threat. This ambition they see actually something good, because you know what is inclusion, right? I mean, I don't have to explain to you. Inclusion means taking different type of perspective, skills, combine them, and then you get the best results. So if you have one ambition person, one that says, you know what, I want my 9 to 5 job, perfect.
Yeah.
So it's sad to hear this, really sad.
But I think we also aspire to be perfect, or probably we can say the girls are socialized to be perfect. Boys are always socialized to be, take more risk, be brave. And somehow we grow up with that, and we just try to, I mean, I'm not saying for all of them, I'm also not like that, but yeah, we see because we aspire for being perfect. In fact, there was a research that said that if there is a job, a woman will only apply if she feels like she's 95 to 100%.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
yes.
she's basically she's qualified, or she feels like she is meeting all the checklist. But a man would apply even if it's 60%. So of course, the study said it is the evidence that women somehow lack the confidence. But I think it's not that. I think it's more to do with the our aspiration towards being perfect. We feel like, okay, we check all these boxes, only then we can apply. So somewhere deep rooted, yeah, even if we want a perfect house, perfect this and that, but we also want others around us, their lives to be perfect. So we put ourselves second, and that's how we are doing. So I think from an early on, if we start embracing the imperfections, we start telling the little ones, girls that, okay, it's okay to be, have these flaws, just embrace those. And this is what makes you who you are. I think that is really, really important to start early on in our lives, right?
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And you know what, actually, what is important is you are not applying for a job because you are perfect in that job, right? There
Yeah.
are so many unforeseen things to learn and circumstances that you can't control. But you are right, this is how we women are. And unfortunately, also, this is how we are brought up in a way. And this is, by the way, ethnical free, I would say, because this kind of perfectionist that we have in us as a woman, it's something that we have it no matter where we come from. In some areas, a bit more, I would say, exposed in some countries, in others less. But it's a
Yeah.
pity. You don't need to, right? Because the person is not hiring because you know everything perfectly. But you know what I would like to say as well, that company that rejected you with a feedback, you are too ambitious. One thing that I learned over the last couple of years is, then you know what? It's not about that you are not the right person for them. They are not the
Yeah.
right company for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? So this is also important. They do not fit into your personal values. So actually, it's sad, and maybe it's a chance that you desperately wanted, but actually, no, because you wouldn't have been happy. There would be the glass ceiling thicker than you've ever experienced in your life. So no, actually, say thank you for letting me understand. Actually, we
Get
are not
lost.
each
Yeah.
other.
Correct. Actually, that particular friend of mine, now she's doing really well at another company and she's flourishing. She's doing great.
That's life, right? Sometimes
Right.
we,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
So,
No.
but AMACON Lee, does it offer any programs in this area also? Like, or I mean, in today's professional landscape, like how can women overcome societal conditioning and become more assertive in the workplace to position themselves for the success? Do you do something in this direction as well?
Yes, definitely. You can tell it's a hard topic for me too. And so that's where I say we do ment coach. So I don't want, it's not only mentoring, it's not only coaching, because, you know, it's unfortunately, these two words have gotten some kind of a stereotyping. And nowadays, unfortunately, everyone can call themselves coaching after doing a couple of, I don't know, weekend certifications, etc. But, you know, ment coach for me means I have a bit of psychological background. I understand also what it means for a human being with certain, I would say, we say in psychology, schematas, what is triggering you, what is triggering your opponent to react that way. But also we say important is that we support you in a behavioral change. It's not that we sit there, we listen to you, we give you deliverables to help you to adapt. Because in the end, you cannot change the world. You can only change yourself. So,
Yes.
and it's a choice, right? If you don't want to change, that's also fine. Then you have to find the tools to navigate. But if
Right.
you say it's too complicated, there are too many tools because I deal with so many different entities and people and etc., then it's about you then. If you want to change, then you need to have the person by your side that is giving you the one tool that is going to help you to adapt to the environment. So yeah, this is what we call mentor coach.
That's powerful, indeed. So, how many women have you helped so far in your career?
I would say there are this informal number. So I tend to have women that wants to have coffee with me, and then we meet and we sit down, and it ends up in 2-3 hours conversation. And then they disappear for a while because I think they have this magic stick now. It's gonna work. You see, there's this not this one-time magic stick, right? And then they come back. So I cannot give you a number, but what I can say is it's women from different backgrounds. I have lived in so many countries that I have been, you know, talking to women with Asian background, women with European background, women in a very high position where you would think, hey, you know what? They appear always so, you know, tough and they know what they're doing, but actually sometimes they just want to have a chat and to talk about the circumstances they're going through. So it's difficult to give you a number, but what I can say is very, very industry independent, and it's also background independent and age independent to the women I've been talking to so far.
How have you been, your experience been in Netherlands? What do you think, what in your opinion makes Netherlands, an attractive place to the internationals and professionals?
I think the first very important attraction is the language. You find more people that are openly to speak English than you would find maybe in other countries, in neighbor countries, right? I lived in France, I lived in Germany, and I can tell you, my luck, I was speaking both languages. My
Okay.
Netherlands is not the best, right? But I can mingle, I can get around. And this is a very unique opportunity. First of all, it's a Dutch culture. The Dutch culture, in my experience, this is all my personal opinion, is a bit more laissez-faire. So we say in French, laissez-faire, easygoing, compared to maybe some of the other countries we know. So these are two main contributions, I believe. But then I think what we shouldn't forget is that I moved here a couple of years ago, and I think the area I'm living in, Eindhoven, has grown drastically. So it might be also a bit of overwhelming for the locals, right? Suddenly there is like an invasion, and let me accelerate, an invasion of internationals coming. So the country is attractive, open, language is great, people are really, really, really nice, but it might be a bit too much for the locals. So I love living here, right? I did mention earlier, I grew up in Germany, my parents are in Germany, I can easily go back, but I stayed because I really love this easygoing, laissez-faire way of living and communicating. So yeah, I hope this answered your question.
I agree. I mean, I also like the unique, basically, work-life balance here and the flat hierarchy, I can say. I cannot say back in my country, in India, that it's easy to meet the CEOs and all. Here, everything is so easy. You can just connect. I think I love that about this place. So that
You
approach
don't
is
have to go back to India,
amazing.
to be honest. You find it in the neighbor countries too, huh?
So then we can say it's unique about this country, yeah.
Yes, definitely agree. Yes.
So looking back, what career advice do you wish you had known when you were when you were just starting out as your career?
Oh, that's a good one. What's career advice? I am also one of those ambitious persons, right? I was always looking for distinction in grading. Not because someone told me to be honest, all right? It's my nature. I like to be, if possible, good in what I'm doing. I don't want to say the best because then it sounds like I'm too much focusing on it. But I like to basically, achieve things. This ambition I had is good. And I still think it's what drives me and that drives the AMACON team. But what I can say is in my career, what I wish I would have found and looked for earlier are role models. Because we underestimate the power of knowing that someone that is like you or similar to you achieved something. And if you have found a role model that is close to you, seek for devices. It easy experiences you go through to share those experiences. That is so, so key because I grew up in a time and I worked in a time in the industry I was working where there were not so many role models with my background and with my ethnical, I would say, a background as well. It doesn't have to be always the ethnical person, but in the things that I was going through, it would have helped that time. So really seeking for role models, seeking for mentors, basically that's what I'm saying is a key tool that you should seek for. But also, there is this expression that I don't know how to say it, but it's a German expression. It says, alle Zähne gerade sein lassen. So basically what it says is, you cannot do everything in one day. Just let it go sometimes. Right? And so I wished in my previous years, I would have just sometimes let things go. And that's what I mean, what I try to do today. I'm over, right?
Yeah.
I decide and I choose to go for a walk or to do whatever that helps me. So really, role model, mentorship or mentors, and letting it go sometimes.
I absolutely echo your sentiments. Yeah, exactly. I think we also need to go easy on ourselves also because somehow we think we need to do everything and say no to nothing.
think it's what
I mean,
you mentioned earlier, the female professionalism, right, in us.
exactly. I mean, it's always insightful to reflect on your career journeys, always is. So, but thank you for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. Before we wrap up, is there a message or key takeaway you would like our listeners to remember from our conversation?
Yeah, I mean, probably it's going to be a bit of a sentiment takeaway as well. But I think and I hope that this conversation of ours helps many listeners to know that actually they are not going through something alone. Sometimes you see women on stage, you see posts on LinkedIn, and you are like, wow, okay, they have achieved it. But you know what? You mentioned earlier behind the scene. There is also behind the scene. And that is so important, and for me, what I would love to share is something that I have as a personal quote for myself. I will not mention this long quote, basically, that I have. I actually made a post about it today on LinkedIn, but it's about having a clear vision. Because I believe when you have a clear vision, it doesn't mean you walk around the whole day thinking about, oh, my vision is and my strategy is. But if you have a clear vision, it helps you sometimes to accept failures, to accept imperfection, to accept that, you know what, the vision is there. It doesn't move anywhere.
Yeah.
So to having a clear vision of what you want in life, and it doesn't have to be an ambitious vision of, I want to make a career in this, I know some of my best friends that, I graduated with distinction, their vision was to have a perfect family life, not a career. Perfection is in their understanding. So it is important, once you have that, you have to deal with the sacrifices, with the challenges that comes along with.
But isn't that what freedom is about? The freedom is to choose whether you want to be a career woman or whether you want to be a homemaker, and
Yes.
it should be your choice, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you, Philippa. We had a lovely conversation, and I would like to request to the audience, to the listeners, that an amazing event is coming up on March 21st. Please do join us, and we will see you next time on another Tea Talk episode with another remarkable guest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I did not even finish my tea, but okay, I hope I will now. Thank you so much for having me, Supriya.
Thank you for joining, Philippa.
Thank you.